All right, guys, we are back, and we're going to take some questions now from you guys. Again, we're taking the questions from the Reddit thread, which was posted here. It's probably too late to post a new question at this point, but next week you can do that. This chat's going crazy. Great. All right, let's see. What do we have here? I'm sorting by top, and it looks like Space Barbarian asks, the current meta seems to heavily favor aggro burst control decks, except Handlock, I guess. Do you think this is just because aggro mid-range is most efficient for climbing the ladder, and the abundance of it is just leaving other types of decks unexplored, or is it just not possible for a slow control deck to have consistency in this meta?
I mean, it's pretty much what it is. Like with aggro, let's say you have a 65% win percentage with aggro, and you have like a 70% win percentage with the druid. If your druid games are taking 20 minutes and your aggro games are taking 10 minutes, that 5% difference is not worth spending twice as long to play your games. So it's just the fastest for climbing up, at least for getting to rank 5. And from then on, yeah, I mean, it's all about kind of reacting to what people are playing.
Moz?
Yeah, in the raw paper scissors of making decks, aggro does beat the very high-end control, so it's really hard to climb using a control deck. And of course, time, right? It's always about who gets to legend first, and that's why everybody likes aggro.
Okay, next question we have. Let's see, let me minimize this. All right, Loaded asks, Reynad, you seem to work on constructing a lot of successful decks. How much experimentation do you have to do before you find something that works?
I mean, it used to be a lot. Like I mean, most of my background in deck building is in Magic, so I was doing that for like 7 years before Hearthstone. So it used to be I'd have to put a lot of work in. It's like deck building something it takes a lot of time to just be able to do on the fly. But these days, anytime a problem comes up, like hey, there's too much of this aggro deck, it's usually similar to like something I've had to deal with before. So it's not too much practice anymore these days. Like I don't have to like test it too much. I'm like, okay, if this is showing up a lot, Claw should be good against this because it was good in the last time the metagame was similar, and you know, I'll any problem or any like that's basically how you have to look at the metagame. When a deck's really popular, it's winning a lot, you have to look at it as a problem, and then the solution to it is usually the same solution it was last time that a similar problem existed. So that's kind of how it works.
All right, next we got... Okay, what change? Well, we talked a little bit about just like bug fixes, but are there any other changes in Hearthstone that you hope to see in the upcoming patch? Maz, I'll let you take this one.
Pagel and Tickmaster gets removed from the game.
Removed
I would
from
actually
the game.
like
All
to.
right.
I would actually like to see that, and just put in something else. To actually some cards to deal with aggro might be pretty nice. Some neutral card that does, some battle card that does something to minions. Yeah, something like that. If you talk about like new stuff, because they generally did come and say that they're not gonna change any bad cards, right? They're not gonna come out and change any bad cards. They're just gonna introduce some new cards.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's that. We're just gonna have to stick with the bad priest cards.
What do you? I remember having a conversation with somebody once before, and I don't have a history in Magic the Gathering, and I remember we were talking about bad cards. There are cards that nobody uses and almost everybody considers bad, and they were telling me that it's necessary to have these bad cards. in some ways to in a way to fill like I guess the card pool. What do you guys think of that whole thing? Like Reynad, I mean you obviously played Magic a
Yeah,
lot, so
it's okay. So in Magic, okay, see in Hearthstone we only have like what 400 cards or something, 500. I don't know how many. I don't know the count offhand.
I'm not sure exactly the
Yeah,
count.
well, in Magic, yeah, in Magic you get like 300 new cards like every 3 months, and you can't make. It's such a complicated question to answer. Basically, it's a design philosophy of the R&D guys that make Magic that if we're making 300 cards, we really want a few of these to stand out. So you have to have some bad ones that are basically unplayable. No matter what the metagame looks like, they are just strictly worse versions of other cards, like River Crocolisk versus Amani Berserker, if you're playing Priest, for example.
Yeah.
But the thing with Hearthstone is Hearthstone doesn't really have cards like that. Almost every single card in the game, almost, there are cards that are just outright bad, but almost every single card in the game can be played in some unique metagame sometime, and it will be the best choice. And the reason for that is that the card pool is so small that most cards in the game have a very unique effect right now. Like Flame Imp is the only 1 mana 3/2 in the game. Elven Archer is the only 1 mana card that like deals a damage and keeps a guy sticking around immediately. Argent Squire does that a little bit more effectively, but you have to wait a turn to get that damage. Like everything has a unique effect right now because there's so few cards. But as more cards get printed and there's going to be like a 2/3 Fairy Dragon and like 3/4 Iron for Grizzly. Eventually, Iron for Grizzly will be like strictly worse than the new 3/4 Taunt. That's also a beast. Like
Yeah.
it's just just because of how many cards exist. Like something has to be the worst.
Yeah.
Basically.
Amaz, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I agree
cool.
with that.
All right.
I'm talking a lot. Sorry.
No, that's all right. Next up, well, that question was for you. The next question, Train Simulator 2013 asks, what new 2-drop would they like to see Priest get? Amaz, I'll let you take this one first.
Something that every time it attacks, it heals itself to full health. I think that would be very, very good
Wait,
as a
by
2-drop.
itself?
Yeah, but no, by
not,
itself. Like
not
some,
with the hero power? Or
it's
you
just
mean?
by itself. Like it heals itself to full health every time it attacks. So when something attacks it, you can still remove it. It actually combos well with the Light Warden. Then I would play Light Warden or something like that. Or you
Oh,
can just
wow.
for a simpler method, just make Thought Steal a 2-drop because Thought Steal is not really. It will really establish Priest as a control class if Thought Steal was a 2-drop, so you don't have nothing to play at 2s. You could rebalance your decks and actually put like Harvest Golems at 3. But right now, yeah, Thought Steal is really awkward, I
Oh,
think.
wow. Okay, that's an interesting suggestion. Reynad?
Putting Thought Steal 2 would just give Priest like one super OP card, like kind of like fixing the Hunter problem, and it would make Priest see play because it has like that one really OP card. Like a 2-mana Arcane Intellect is just too good compared to like Shiv. With Shiv, you're like hoping to kill a card and
That's
pick
true.
up a card. You're
Right.
like, but yeah, I think I like the first idea, like the 2-drop creature that heals itself. That's pretty cool. Like a 2-mana 1/4 that did it. There aren't too many 2-mana 1/4s. Lorewalker Show used to be, and then they nerfed it, but now it's pretty much just Armorsmith.
Mhm.
That's a really good stats on a card because life is more important than power on any stat, honestly, on any part of the game. So yeah, like a 1/4 that healed itself would be kind of cool.
Okay, great.
Something that deals with Yeti. I don't know.
Right. Sora Online asks, given the popularity of Ancient Watcher control in buffed aggro decks, what are your thoughts on Spellbreaker and other silences in the current metagame, especially in non-druid decks where Keeper of the Grove is just a better card? Reynad, you want to take this first?
Sure. Well, if you're playing Ancient Watcher, it's going to be a lot better than if you're not. There's probably not room in Druid because there's so many other good cards you can be playing, and like you said, Keeper's just better. But I think if the metagame's really aggressive like it is right now, Spellbreaker is like a 4-mana card that doesn't catch you up on board at all, so playing it will probably just get you killed against something like Zoo. But it's not a bad card if you're like I've played a 1/of in Priest sometimes. I've played a 1/of in Paladin sometimes. It's definitely not bad.
Okay. How about you, Amaz?
When I heard that question, the one thing that immediately popped up to mind was the Silence for 0 Priest card. And
Yeah.
I talked with the other priests a lot about that card, and you could say that it is kind of like Innervate if you use it on the Watcher, right? So you can coin out Watcher and then silence the next turn. It's a Yeti immediately, but then generally it's really a bad card because it only works like that. If you silence something else, it's pretty much a waste. So silence as a card is really bad. Yeah, and same thing with Spellbreaker. If you can Spellbreaker your own Watcher at like turn 3 or something, the main problem is just the life. 3 health is really easy to remove from the field. Whereas in Arena, Spellbreaker is one of my favorite cards.
Yeah.
It's one of the best.
Okay, T3H Source asks, what is your opinion on net decking? Not as something bad or good, but rather as an aspect of digital online CCGs. Amaz? What do you think of
Well,
net
I
decking?
completely missed that question. What was that?
Well, what's your opinion on net decking? Like, for it, I guess being, a pretty, integral part of just digital online CCGs.
Oh,
Because,
digital. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think it's I just like the disenchanting thing. I really like that, and
Oh,
everybody
well,
can pick it up.
okay.
Or did I miss the question completely?
Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Net decking is usually when you're, when somebody posts a deck and you basically use that deck.
Oh,
Is that
right,
correct?
right, okay. Because I've never heard net decking before.
Okay, yeah.
I'm
So
kind of,
it's
I'm
like
kind of new
copying
to
decks.
the
Copying
thing,
decks.
yeah.
I mean, that's basically
But yeah,
what I'm saying.
yeah, actually that was the point I wanted to get into. But that's the thing. If you copy someone's deck, it doesn't immediately get you to to legend rank or whatever. I think it's more important to know what plays to make during a game instead of copying a deck. You could probably craft your own deck and play correctly, and you could probably do better. But then people are just like that. They just want to find the best decks, and they just want to play those because they think they have an edge. Uh, yeah, in the game, I think 60% accounts to how you play your cards instead of a deck.
Yeah.
Because once you do get into the game, that's your deck. You can't change it, and yeah, I don't think people place enough emphasis on playing cards correctly and doing the correct trades. Like Reynad was saying, sometimes you have to think of vertical for face or trade for minions, because if you do trade for the minion and it was their move anyways, then you missed out on that damage.
Which,
So,
which can be just that little bit that you needed for lethal at the end. Reynad, what do you think?
Like imitating pro players is something that happens in every esport, happens in every sport. Like it's just what happens. Like I mean, I think that net decking is actually a pretty good exercise for somebody that's new to CCGs, because building your own decks and like figuring out what's good against what and all of that is just so incredibly time consuming and more or less a useless skill, honestly, because
Really? Wow.
thanks to the internet, thanks to the internet, you can just like copy someone else's decks, and that deck is going to be 99% close to perfect. And honestly, playing the game, just like Amaz said, is very, very important, and it's a much more important skill to get first. Like when you net deck someone's deck, you actually learn a lot, not just about how to play the game, but about like how to build your own decks too, just from doing that. Like you'll kind of start to understand the reasons that they play the cards that they do. You'll be able to compare it to cards that you were playing maybe in your deck of the same class. And I think that net decking's a good exercise for a lot of people. I wholeheartedly encourage, as long as they're not getting paired against me. And it's a good thing to pick up, because it teaches you about why cards are there, and you know that if you're losing consistently with a deck that like a good player is having success with, you know that the problem is in your play, and you can address that. Like it's not because you're playing Angry Chicken in your rank 25 deck. You know that that's not the problem. The reason is that you need to step up your technical play, and you can start to work on that.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree that I guess the mechanics side of playing is probably the most important side of it. But I actually do feel less strongly, or I'm a little bit opposed to net decking, believe it or not, because I don't know. I think the strategic side, I think the deck building side of this game is a skill. You know what I mean? And I think there's been some talk about people being more talented in deck building in other CCGs, and they might not be the player, like as some of the top players, but they build really great decks, and a lot of the top players use it. I feel like they should be rewarded, maybe not equally, but maybe 40%. If it is 40% deck, then they should have that 40% be more valuable than the guy who plays well and can't build a deck himself. And I you find this in other games too, like StarCraft, because of replays. replays totally screwed like build orders and stuff like that. So similar in this game too when it comes to decks, and it's not something that I guess we can ever avoid because of the internet and any longer. But it's just something I wish was rewarded a little bit more.
Yeah, me too.
Well, the top
But
players
that's-
do it. I mean,
They do, but it lasts for what? I mean, it lasts for like one event, and then that deck is
Yeah.
out there.
the next event they'll copy the next guy's best deck and all that.
Yeah.
The point is, like, if the guy who built the deck is playing the same 30 cards as the guy who's copying it, they both have the best deck. So it's
Yeah,
like, unfortunately,
no.
that's how it works. But I do agree with the Amaz that, like, I think at lower ranks, it's like, I think your deck is something like 60% of, like, determining whether you win or lose. But at higher ranks, I think since most players are going to play, they're always going to make the high value play. They're always going to play close to perfectly. I think at the higher levels, deck building matters a lot more than at lower levels. Like if you play something completely unexpected that's perfect for the metagame, and you're not streaming and you go on a huge streak with it that night, like that's how you hit rank 1.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, let's take a couple more and then we'll call it a day. Reynad and Amaz, what cards are you currently experimenting with that may surprise us? Amaz, you want to take this one first? Anything?
not a
Or you
lot
don't
of
want to share it? You just
cards-
want to continue hiding it from us?
Not a lot of priest cards you can experiment with. I mean, I never even want to touch Shadow Form. But then I did try the Shadow Priest with Velen. It's just not consistent. So yeah, just gonna keep on looking really, priest wise. But the other decks, I really just copy people and learn how they play and just bring it to tournaments. Not a lot of new stuff going on here.
Okay. Reynad, any card you're working on?
I'm kind of an open book on decks I work on, but the next thing I kind of want to work on is bringing back some warrior one-turn kills, kind of. I want to try out the new charge, War Song Command. Like, the way the metagame's looking right now, that's like my issue with the warrior control deck is killing them with Cairn is just too slow against aggro. Like, they're gonna whittle you down before that guy can close the game out.
Yeah.
So, I want to just kill them in one turn with Raging Worgens and charges, maybe Blood Accelerator. We'll see. Like, I think it might be a better finish than the legendaries, so...
Okay, all right. We've seen a little bit of that in some of your other decks, but not the War Song Commander, though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Here's a second part of the Lord Helix's question, because the other one we kind of talked about with the aggro decks. What is your advice for players who have plateaued at a specific rank? So just to throw out something, let's say somebody who's plateaued at rank 8 or something like that. Reynad, any advice?
Okay, if you find yourself plateauing, okay, well, you have to basically kind of understand how matchups work, and if you're getting paired against Druid 5 games in a row, you need to be able to adapt and switch to a deck that's better in that matchup, and you have to know what deck is actually good against Druid. That's when you switch to like Priest or Paladin or something maybe, or Handlock. But the biggest thing is probably your play is what's causing you to plateau, and there's a lot of basically anytime you make a decision, you have to ask yourself at the end of the game or the next turn, how did that decision work out as opposed to the other play you made, and would the other play have been better? And that's if you do that over the course of hundreds of games, you improve as a player. And there's really only 2 steps to playing well. Number 1 is you see all your options. Number 2 is you decide the best one out of those options. And the second step involves some extrapolation and all that, but mostly just try to see all of your options, even the bad ones. Like consider backstabbing your own guy. Consider like not making a creature with your hero power. Maybe that's better against Unleash the Hounds or something. Like think about all the out there plays, narrow it down to the best one, and yeah, just ask yourself how it would have worked out if you played differently, and try to maybe play that way next time if it was better.
Yeah, I think a good tool too is to from time to time record yourself, so that you can watch yourself and you can watch the replays and kind of look it over again. I don't think probably 99% of people don't do that. Even streamers probably don't do that. But Amaz, do you have any words of advice for somebody who's plateaued?
Yeah, generally I would suggest you just watch a streamer or just watch someone play, just watch someone good with their deck. For example, the way I prepared my warrior deck was watching Paradise play. I don't know if you guys heard of him, but Paradise was number 2 in NA at a point. Watching him play really just it surprised me because he knows what he's expecting, and the cards he has, like what he wants to accomplish, and he plays really differently. So if you find yourself stuck in, say, like, yeah, rank 8 or something, you really need to like pull up something, have a fresh perspective of why they get to legend with the same deck you're using, and yeah, that's really that.
Okay, last question. Well, this is Complexity88 has a question for you, Amaz. I'm starting to play in more tournaments lately, usually in a BlizzCon-esque best out of 3 or best of 3 or best of 5. Is there a general strategy in types of decks I should bring? For example, should I bring 2 decks of the same archetype, or opposite archetypes, or different versions of decks?
Oh wow. So it really depends on the format of the tournament. So, let's begin by saying, when NESL told me that I was playing King of the Hill, I basically searched for who I'm up against and saw what they are playing, and then I countered that, right? So you really need to do your research if you could ahead of time. If you're playing in a bigger tournament, then you should bring 2 different archetypes at least. So really, you hopefully it's like rock paper scissors, really, right? If you bring all scissors, then you might get stomped by someone who plays a little bit more, flexible options. But yeah, just play aggro right now in tournaments. People are not gonna expect it. Like Reynad
Okay.
says just now, yeah, people don't like seeing aggro. They're all just full control as late as it can be. If you play it, if you play aggro in tournament, you do good. Like percentage wise, you could win a lot, but then you run the risk of ending the tournament really early and not having nothing to do for the next 2 hours.
Okay.
It's just too bad.
All right. How about you, Reynad? Because I remember hearing you talk about maybe having a different perspective on what types of decks to bring to some of these more competitive competitions.
Yeah, right now I've only played like a couple tournaments, so I'm still kind of like feeling out. Like I thought like surely people wouldn't continue playing all these control decks, so I've kind of like I've been trying a lot of different stuff. I've played like I think every class at this point in a competitive setting, but I think in the future I'm gonna take a really strong look at listening to my own advice and actually playing aggro, just like Amaz said, like really aggressive decks and just opening with them too. Like I have, I like to think that I play with a lot of different classes and I more or less understand like where each one of them is good. So I'm just gonna try to like kind of catch people off guard, I think, in the future. Not just like play these. I hate playing control decks on ladder and in tournaments because it's just a gambit on like who disrespects aggro more. Like, oh, you cut some cheap removal for big game hunter and a second faceless manipulator. I guess I can't win this matchup. Like, that's all it really comes down to. And
Okay.
yeah, I want to capitalize on that. Play some more aggro than I have been.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, thanks everybody for all the questions. Hopefully you got to answer just all the questions you guys wanted to be asked on the show today. But why don't we wrap up the show? It's been a fantastic show. I've been really enjoying talking about the Priest deck and just all the various ones. We covered quite a few classes today and just generally constructed. But I want to do some shout-outs right now. Amaz, you want to start us off? You have any shout-outs or thank yous you want to do?
Well, big thanks to you for inviting me here. I want to thank Root for picking me up, and of course, just my viewers for being awesome, and of course, Artosis, who kind of made me, well known. It was kind of like, a coincidence that I killed him that much, but it was a good thing I did.
That's cool. Reynad, you want to do some shout-outs, thank yous?
Yeah, mostly to my viewers. Just keep coming back day after day. Like I never thought the channel would turn into what it did a couple months ago, and couldn't do it without you guys. So it's it's meant a lot. And then my sponsors, Phoenix and HyperX. Those guys support the stream a lot. I love like everything they've sent me has just been awesome. They support the stream fully, and they've been awesome about that. And what else did I give a shout out to? I guess shout out Legendary Leia on Twitch. Why not? Get her some viewers.
Legendary
I danced
Leia.
up to 2K already.
Nice, yeah, she's fun. She's fun.
I played some show games yesterday.
Oh, did you with her?
Like we were like pick a class and then like randomly made a deck or like had the game create the deck for us.
Dude, were you playing Casey Tron yesterday?
Yeah, I got destroyed. Better player won. What can I do?
Oh, jeez. Wait, did you run into her on a ladder, or did you actually play her just custom?
No, she's probably ranked much higher than I am. I'm only like rank 4 right now or
Okay.
something. She's got to be like legendary 1.
Okay, cool.
No, I made a highlight, or no, we just challenged each other, and I made a highlight of it if anyone wants to see it.
Yeah, I think it's on Reddit,
No,
so you can check it out.
skillfully outplayed.
Cool. You can follow all of us on Twitter at ChanManV at here. I'll just post it here. It's at Andre. How do you pronounce your last name? Yanuk.
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 Yeah, and then nuke like nuclear. Yeah.
All right, Yanuk, and at Amaz HS. You can follow. That's our Twitters. You can follow our streams or follow just at least watch the streams whenever they're up. It's twitch.tv/. Is it Amaz HS or is it Amaz?
Yeah, Amaz HS for everything.
Amaz HS for everything, and then twitch.tv/ is it Reynad? It's just Reynad. Oh, God, I'm so bad.
For what?
What's your Twitch again?
Oh, Reynad 27.
27. I knew it was something 7. So here are the Twitch links too, guys, and be sure to check these guys out. You guys going to be streaming right after, or maybe
I
later?
probably
Today?
will.
Actually,
I need
Amaz,
to
you're
eat.
gonna go to sleep. I know it's
Yeah,
like
I'm
super
probably
late
going
for
to
you.
bed.
Yeah. But for me, I just want to give a shout out to both of you guys. Great show today. Thanks for coming on, and all the viewers for watching. And the VODs, the first 2 parts of the VODs are already up at youtube.com/ChanManV. Let me link you the first part, and then I'll just link from there so you guys can just check it out if you missed the first part. And then I'll post the last part right after we're done here. Follow the channel if you enjoy this show or any of my other shows. Deck Wars, Unfiltered, Wednesday Night Sprites, any of those things you like. Be awesome to get to follow it. And anything else? I think that's going to be it, guys, for ValueTown this week. Next week, hopefully Trump and Crip will be back, and we'll be talking either some arena or constructed. We'll see. But until then, for Reynad, Amaz, and ChanManV, we'll see you next time. Peace.
All right, man.
All right.